It is weird now to see, like, and not to like pat ourselves on the back, but it is weird now to see how Harder Brunch is taking off now because people will be like, oh, like, where do I know you from? Yeah. Like, oh, you probably see me in comedy. Like, no, that's not it.
That's not it.
And then I go, podcast. What podcast? Oh, Harder Brunch. Yeah. I was like, oh, well. There you go. And it's fun. Like, but like, I love being a part of this, and I'm asking to renew another year.
Yeah, are we renewing our Thad subscription?
I wanted to ask you in front of everybody. So put you on the spot.
Yeah, I feel like this was a wedding proposal almost.
Yeah. Another 6 months.
He didn't say yes. Yeah, he said
down. Oh, I'm eating brunch with my people though. The homie Dyke just cooked up a feast and we bout to eat it, bro. Fucked around and has to mix the lobster with the poutine. Daddy is rolling blue dream. Them boys got down a routine. It's Naptown culture. Cooking 7 courses. Had to pass the torch and now I'm grabbing second portion. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a smoke. It's Harder Brunch on the way and get prepared for the jokes. Whoa.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels, and with me, as always, my co-host, Thaddeus J. McKee.
Slappy, pappy, want, Goose the Market.
On the one and twos, the wheels of steel, the sauce boss of Indianapolis, and the last woke dragon. Give it up for Zach Roan.
Slappy, Tinker Coffee. I don't know. I lost it.
Upland. Toys R Us.
Is that a new sponsor?
Yep.
They're back. And a very, very special guest with us for the first time in studio from Goose the Market. CEO, owner, operator, what do you call yourself?
Meat man.
Meat man.
Yeah. I like that. There you go.
Meat man Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Very, very excited. You were one of the top guests that I always wanted to have on.
Oh, yeah? What took you so long?
You're scared.
Scared.
But,
I see you every week.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. You're a busy man.
I try to be, yeah.
You're a busy man.
Yep.
So for the people that don't know, you own. Now is it Goose the Market on down, or is it Goose on down? Is it Goose and then Goose the Market and Smoking Goose are both under the umbrella?
Yeah, they're separate. I mean, they're under the same like umbrella of a company, but they do two different things. Mm-hmm. You know, very much two different things. So, I mean, obviously Goose the Market was first, but you know, they're separate. Hard to separate. Hard to understand that, but yeah.
Well, I like Smoking Goose because it's closer to my house.
There you go.
And so it's a quick jaunt down the street for me. But basically, the way I always describe it to people, because people, I wear the hat all the time, and it's just, you guys have some of the best swag out there. And I always like to support local. And when I had my food truck, I would get a lot of product from you guys, and it was always good. Whenever I see it on the menu anywhere, you know it's going to be quality. But when people ask me too, they're like, "What's that hat?" You know, and you have to kind of reverse engineer it, and like, well, it's this high-end butcher shop basically in Indianapolis, and they're like, "Oh, they make a lot of goose." I'm like, no, not
at all,
not at all.
I like to keep them guessing, not telling exactly what it is.
Where did the goose come from?
It's actually my wife's nickname growing up. She was the caboose and had a hard time saying it, so I think her sister started calling her the Goose. She was the last one. So, yeah, that's how it started.
Okay, so it's named after your wife.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And then, you know, like provider for the neighborhood, mother goose type situation. So it all just kind of worked together.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
But everybody thinks it's all goose. It's not that much goose.
Not too much.
Nah.
Octopus.
So you had the one of your old hats just said Goose spelled out real big, and I used to wear that when I was a bartender, but then everyone would call me Goose. And then everybody, hey, Goose, I need another drink. And I was like, I don't like the way that sounds. I don't like the way that feels. And so I started wearing just the one with the logo on it. And every once in a while people will ask, but no one calls me Goose anymore. And I was like, I like that. Yeah.
The name calling stopped.
Yes.
I had a shirt of Smoking Goose that was, I think it was like gold, like sausage links.
Oh, it was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was excellent. It looked like you were wearing like a big gold sausage link necklace or whatever.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
My other favorite was Jow Rules, like Jow Bacon.
That was a really good one.
That was a good one. Yeah. That one didn't last very long.
Kind of like Ja Rule. Oh my gosh. So I guess let's start at the beginning. How did you get into the meat game? What was your origin story there?
I cooked. I mean, I was around food growing up from middle school. I guess now high school.
Okay.
High school I started running, so I was always around food. Later, as I kept going, it like progressed into the butchering and all that. But I mean, growing up, it was just like short order cooking. And then did some fine dining later on. And
are you from India originally?
Yeah, Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
Went to Lawrence Central.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yep. So that's how I started. I worked for the Psalms family growing up. So that was like kind of what got me going. My sister was there, and she got me a job working the counter and then washing dishes and prep and doing that kind of thing.
So you done all the spots.
Yeah. I mean, through the years,
Yeah.
Tried serving, but not really my thing.
Yeah. You like to be back of the house.
Yeah. Right.
I like that. I always enjoyed that separation, but then I realized you make so much more money working in front of the house than back of the house.
Right.
And I was like, I can figure this out. So when did you start with the butchery and getting into meat?
Well, it kind of started like center of the plate doing, working for some of the restaurants. I would go into the cut houses in Chicago and like spec out steaks, like center of the plate kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, they're really just like cutting subprimals and portions and stuff, but I still, kind of got into it, thought it was cool. And then from there, it kind of got into like, all right, rather than just doing subprimals, it's like, it was kind of around the time like whole animal butchery was kind of taking off, right? So it was like utilize the whole animal in different ways on your menu. It wasn't just about the center cut steak. It was like, all right, what all can we use from this animal and how many different ways can you use it, right?
Yeah.
So then you're trying to use whole animals at the same pace, in a restaurant, and everybody's ordering the chops or, everybody's ordering the main cuts. So then it's like, you got to be able to like preserve the rest of it. So a lot of it just kind of like slowly happened, like in a restaurant scenario, if you're buying a whole pig or you're buying like a quarter of beef and it's like, man, I can sell chops and steaks like crazy.
Yeah.
But I got to figure out how to use all these other parts of the animal. And honestly, that's where you were making your money. I mean, like you were getting better margins on all. If you're able to better utilize that whole animal, you were making better money on that stuff. So that's like, it was kind of out of necessity in the restaurants of starting to do like, curing and smoking just so it lasts longer, brining, working stuff into deli sandwiches, all that kind of stuff so that you could do more than just steaks and chops, So that's kind of like where it began, and then from there it was making salami and fermenting and drying, but that came later, I mean, that's like trial and error, trying not to screw it up type situation. I mean, it's a little bit more difficult. It took some, more time to learn that stuff.
So what was like the leap into the business? Like what was that like process look like for you? Or?
I was cooking in Chicago at the time. Had opened up 4 restaurants for a hotel company up there.
Okay.
And it was kind of got to the point where it was like, if I was going to keep living that lifestyle, that working nights and weekends and crazy hours and stuff, I wanted to be doing it for myself.
So you were basically like a GM kind of.
I was a chef. I think I was executive sous chef when I left there.
Okay. You left Psalms?
No, I was at Tremano's.
Oh, Tremano's.
Rick Tremano, Gail Gann. We did 4 restaurants up in Wheeling, Illinois for them.
Okay.
So I was up there at the time. I was basically like, if I'm going to put this much work into something, like I might as well be trying to do something for myself, wrote some business plans on like some restaurants and stuff down here. In fact, I wrote a business plan for where, Black Market used to be. That was like one of the original ideas, was come down here and open a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
But then my sister lived over in that neighborhood where the market is. She's like, man, you got to check out this neighborhood. It's up and coming. And we found that building right on the corner. And we're like, man, this would be great for a butcher shop. And I loved, like, my whole time in Chicago. That was my favorite thing about just the sandwich shops, the neighborhood sandwich shops, neighborhood butcher shops. Every little neighborhood had their own, deal of a shop, like some sort of whether it was like a German style shop or like more like French or Italian. I lived in an Italian neighborhood, so there was a couple of them around there that I really liked. But that was it. Yeah, we found that spot. I was like, hey, this would be perfect. Let's do a butcher shop and charcuterie and sandwiches, and that's kind of how it started for sure. So moved back down here and started working on opening that market, 25th and Delaware.
That's amazing, and it was also like at the perfect time for the city too, because like I feel like what year did you guys open?
07, 08. Well, 07. It was a terrible time.
Okay, sorry.
It was like the recession, man. We like almost lost the building. We were trying to build that building out.
I didn't realize you guys were there because I was thinking it was more like 2010, 2011.
I don't know.
When that's when things started popping off. I feel like it was like around 2010.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people didn't think we were going to make it. I didn't know if we were going to make it. I still don't know if we're going to make it.
That's business, right? That's like any venture.
Right.
But by I guess by 2010, you had cemented yourself as like, at least in my circles, is just like, hey, there's this really good quality. And like, I opened up Blackacre with Steve Ruby, who
we worked together. Yeah.
So he had gone to Goose to like kind of learn about food, and then opened up his place.
Yep.
And so that was like the gold standard. It was like everything's Goose. And I was just like, all right, let's try this stuff out. And I was like, this stuff's really good.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he kind of gave me an education on some stuff and like got me into like offal and stuff like that. And all this, we're deep frying duck hearts and, you know,
all the good stuff, the nasty bits.
Oh yeah. And then I just became, you know, hook, line, and sinker. And then by the time I had my food truck, I was like, yeah, we got to use their bacon. Like they got the best bacon. It really is some of the best bacon ever. Like,
thank you. That was like when bacon was hot too. And there for 5 or 6 years, everybody was talking
bacon
about
on everything. Bacon on your ice cream. Bacon on.
Yep.
That's the first place I got jowl bacon.
Oh, yeah, that's still my favorite.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
And then you guys also have Smoking Goose,
right?
Which is it's kind of gone through a few different variations, right? Because it was kind of like it's your wholesale operation. It was kind of for pickup, but now it's got a really nice storefront attached to it, and it's like the smokehouse too, right?
Yeah, I mean it's production. It's a federally inspected production facility. We ship all over the country, and that's what it was always set up to be. I mean, that's the whole reason we did it. You know, we didn't have much of like a retail presence, but that neighborhood at the time wasn't really like I don't know. I mean, it was kind of up and coming, but it wasn't like, you know, a lot going on over there. So we didn't do a ton of retail over there. But, you know, it was mainly designed to, it was right around that 2011 time. We opened in 11. So, you know, it was right around that time. It was like moving on from the market. I started Smoking Goose, and I started having people run the market, but then I was spending my time doing all the production at Smoking Goose. And we started just selling like local restaurants, you know, local retailers, and a little bit into Chicago. But it was like mostly Indiana and Chicago to begin with.
Wow.
But yeah, then that other retail store, we took over the other half of that building. We originally just started in half that building, and we took over the other half about 2 or 3 years ago, right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then so we never really got that store, like we kind of opened it and then kind of closed it, kind of opened it and closed it. We did our e-commerce out of there for a while. And then at the beginning of last year is when we like officially opened it for good. So, you know, since then we've been running full hours since the beginning of 21.
As a new meat man in the city, and this is going to be a nerdy question for some people, but like, how do you pitch your meat process to the restaurants? Like, so like do you either have to go under price, or do you have to sell them on the process, and this is a better process of meat?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a don't talk about it, be about it. I'm not really one to go in there and like try to like force somebody into it.
Sure.
My thing is I just want to put out something that you can count on, that you know it's going to be good, that you don't have to like worry about it, and I want to be like a super reliable company that you know like what you're getting. Like we're not doing anything to, you know, like it's just honest. It's like transparent. Everything about it is just like we're going to sell it by just doing it every day. You know,
I love that.
So it's really just kind of like earn people's respect. Keep it up, back your product up. I mean, like if you screw something up, it's not like we don't make mistakes. So like we screw something up, like I'm gonna credit, you know, we're gonna get your money back. We're gonna make it right. You know, I'm gonna get some good product. You know, because it's not like, you know, it's not like we're 100% perfect and like we don't screw up. Sure. So it's like it's just, you know, knowing that you can count on us just to be like a good business partner. You know, a good supplier, a good producer. I mean, I want the quality of the product to speak for itself. And then also just like the unique flavor profiles. I mean, that's like a big part of what we do. So it's not really like I'm going to come in, because I'm not going to be better on price than most people. You know what I mean? Like it's an expensive product. It just is. I mean, we're taking big meat and making a little meat. You know, it's like it gets more and more expensive. You know, the more you make it smaller, the more expensive it gets. So, yeah. So I mean, it's more, you know, trying to sell it on the quality, the uniqueness, doing stuff that other people aren't doing. I mean, that's a big part of it.
And that's what sold you too, was the uniqueness, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, some of my favorites. I was kind of curious as to what some of your like actual recipes and techniques are. Like Delaware Fireball. Was that you?
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so originally started making those over on Delaware Street. Obviously, that's what it's named after. But yeah, I mean, the idea was just to do. I still don't know of anybody doing a crepinette style salami in the U.S. So that was the idea. I mean, we were doing crepinettes in the store, just fresh crepinettes.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, why don't we ferment this, cold smoke it, and dry it, and just see what happens. That's kind of how it started. So that was like the creation of the Delaware Fireball. It's still hand rolled. We still hand wrap it in call fat. It's cold smoke during fermentation. I mean, they're pretty cool and they're just real unique. I mean, nobody else is. I've still not seen anybody doing it. We've been making them for 10 years, but I mean, they're a pain in the ass. I mean, it's labor. It's labor. I mean, it's everybody. We can do 350 pounds in about 2 or 3 hours with 5 people doing it. So.
Well, there's so many products that you guys make that they just have that wow factor. Like if you put the pig and fig on a charcuterie board like that, it's gonna raise some eyebrows. It's gonna set it off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's probably one of my favorite. I mean, I love figs anyway, but yeah, the pig and fig is fantastic.
I always mispronounce it, but the Nduja.
I mean, there's 2 different kind of acceptable ways. But
I didn't hit either one of them.
Nduja. Yeah.
What did we made? We made like pasta. You made pasta out of it, or Sternberg did maybe. I don't know. Somebody made.
Sternberg did.
Yeah. It was really good.
Oh yeah, it's great for a sauce. I mean, it's so versatile. I like any of that stuff that's spreadable. That's why I like the pig and fig too, though, because it's kind of more of a spreadable.
Have you guys ever done a Braunschweiger?
We do, yeah. It's not like a year-round thing. You usually do it in the fall.
Okay,
yeah.
I gotta get on that.
Oh yeah, it's got a ton of bacon in it too, so you'll like it. Yeah,
nice.
Good stuff.
No, I got to go back to the octopus. The smoked octopus broke my mind. That's actually what pulled me to the store. Dyke was making the smoked octopus. I'm like, I've never had octopus in my life before, and it was so delicious. It was amazing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You guys got a lot of seafood going to the smokehouse and like those prawns and the octopus.
Yeah. Changed my life.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of a lot of options for smoked seafood in the city, and so like that was kind of, and I love it. Like I'd love to start a whole line of it, but I don't know if we're busy enough. I got my hands full as it is, but we do it just out of that store. We just do it for the store. We don't sell it anywhere else. But I mean, that's that whole thing is like, is just adding that line of smoked seafood over there is kind of like the key components of that place.
Now, as a creative person, but also a business person, like you kind of get locked in. You get the creative aspect of coming up with some of the stuff, but then when you find something that works, then it's just kind of doing it over and over, and getting repetition. Like where do you get your most fun creative outlets to keep like things new and fresh for you?
Oh man, that's a good question. I honestly, it's like you just got to take a little bit from here and there. I kind of keep a running list of ingredients or types or styles of things that I like, and then when the time's right, I try to put things together that make a lot of sense. I try to keep things. I always think of it as like the really thin crust pizza where it's like no more than 3 ingredients. It's like, and everything's got to be in every bite. Everything's got to be perfect amounts. It's got to be just right. For that pizza to be perfect. And that's kind of what I think about is like I'll tie into some ingredients or styles, or I might see somebody do something. Oh, I like this one part of it. And it's kind of like you start grabbing those things together and putting them in a list. And at the time, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's just more like, it's almost like you're constantly brainstorming, a lot of it happens when you're traveling, or you're talking to people that like forage around here, stuff like that. You're like, oh yeah, what's coming up? We got this coming, we got spruce tips coming up, or there's something like that's coming up. You're like, oh, I'm going to put that. I'm going to be thinking about that. And then when it comes time to like, oh, we need to put something together, I'll start going through those lists and start bringing some of those ingredients together, try to figure out what makes sense. I mean, that doesn't always work. I mean, we've had some duds over the years, but we try to make it right.
I feel like, right around like 2000, I guess it was like more 2012, but I noticed there was also all those people from Recess that went around and started opening up this place, and like, I feel like when that happened, like this palette shift happened in Indianapolis where we went from a Ryan's Steakhouse and
Right,
Golden Coral and Golden Coral.
Golden Coral. Seafood. That's a new seafood restaurant.
It's the bougier one.
Yeah, it's a seafood buffet.
Yeah, seafood buffet.
Very nice.
Next to Journey.
But people's palates started changing, and they started being more, I think, just a little bit more adventurous, and and it was the same time craft beer started really kicking off, and like people were trying all these different things. Because like I remember like having like a lot of Goose products on like a charcuterie board, and people would be like, "Oh, I like this," and then it would be like maybe like the Lardo or something. It would always be something that was like a bridge too far for like someone living in Irvington. I don't know what that is yet, but I gotta kind of like watch people's tastes and palates change in real time. It's been a very interesting thing to be a part of and to watch, and like stuff that's on the menu now that's almost kind of expected when you go into a restaurant. How that was. Almost divisive in 10 years ago,
Taboo,
just like, what are we doing?
Right. Well, I think you mentioned recess, but I think Greg was a big part of that. I mean, that's he opened the doors for a lot of people to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he was doing it, but a lot, like you said, a lot of those people that were working for him and came out of there. I mean, they made things more acceptable, especially as they opened more places. And a lot of that started with Greg.
Yeah, and I think you've been a huge part of that too. I think
it was around that same time that and that's how I got to know Greg real well. I never worked for Greg or worked with him. I just got to know him because I appreciated what he was doing, and I think he appreciated what we were doing. But
absolutely,
yeah.
Well, we prepared a very special menu today for you.
Yeah.
Now we heard you liked game.
Mm-hmm. I love to chase it.
No, I got the wrong one.
my second or third favorite pastime, chasing game.
Now, are you a hunter?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like, what all do you hunt?
I mean, if it moves and it's in season, I'm going after it. I mean, especially around here, we got turkey season coming up. That's the next one. So that's probably one of my favorites. Spring turkey season is like the most exciting. I mean, hearing those things gobble from the next ridge over in the morning in the woods, and it's like things are starting to green up. Like, oh man, there's no better sound than a turkey gobbling from like a mile away. At this time of year. So deer, I started waterfowl hunting, so I grew up kind of duck hunting, but some of this other stuff I've gotten into on my own. We do an elk hunt every fall, archery elk hunt every fall.
Archery.
And then we're going to
You bagged elk with
yeah. I'm over 2.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 year in Washington and 1 year in Colorado, and man, it's tough to call yourself an elk hunter, just because you chase them, 10 days out of the year, and you come up empty-handed. I'm not really an elk hunter. I've chased them, but I haven't actually gotten one.
Wow.
So,
They really do elk with bow and arrows.
Yeah.
You gotta draw that back.
You can do rifle. We can do rifle, but it's a little bit easier to get the tag for bow. So we do the open season.
I feel like you earn it more. You drop a elk with a bow and arrow, like that's yours.
I'm not gonna do rifle until I get one with a bow. That's my thing. So I mean, some people it takes 8 to 10 years before they can do it.
Wow.
Some people do it their first year. So
now, have you seen a lot of elk doing this?
The first year we did not see any,
okay.
And then this last year we saw quite a few. Yeah, we did a lot better this last year. You start to pick up little things. I mean, you basically drop off in an area you've never been before and try to figure it out in 10 days and try to, where are they? How am I going to get close to them? It's crazy. I mean, it's like, as soon as you get there, the clock's ticking, and it's like, it's a race to just try to find them. And, obviously there's other people out there doing it too. So
now,
it's tough.
Is it a completely different, I'm not a hunter at all. Is it a completely different like process from like deer hunting?
It is, because you can call. If you can get them, they will call and respond, which is why I like turkey hunting so much, because you can call out, get them gobbling, and then you go chase after them. And elk's the same way. But, deer, it's not like that. Deer, it's more like spot and stalk. I don't sit in a stand. Some people just want to go up in a climber and they'll sit in a stand. I can't do it. I'm usually on the ground, kind of moving around and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's different. The elk hunting is a lot different.
You covering yourself in elk piss?
No, no.
You don't call elk piss. It's elk pee, right?
Yeah.
Elk
proper urine. Yeah.
Because you don't.
urine.
It doesn't say piss on the score.
Probably not.
I think it usually says mark, like marking liquid or something.
Yeah, marking liquid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we used to have it for foxes. So that if you're going fox hunting, you would.
They use all the scents. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been looking for it, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with it?
It's private. That's private.
I'm not.
That's between you.
Legally, you cannot ask him.
Right. You can't ask me.
Right.
Lawyers say. Now, you said you started out with duck hunting, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So you went duck, duck, goose.
Yeah. There you go.
To put it on count. Oh, that's not going to be a laugh.
Boom.
I was waiting for that one.
That might be a boo.
It's neither.
It's neither.
Yeah, it's in the
Didn't even
nowhere.
register.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's in
Making a sound
purgatory.
drop for us.
I don't like that.
Man.
But did you ever hunt with like dogs?
Yeah, my uncle's trained dogs, and I tried to train a dog, but she's a great family dog, but she's not a hunter dog for sure. But yeah, I love it. I mean, that's when you go like pheasant hunting, and they got those dogs at work, man, those dogs are crazy.
Yeah.
They're so cool to watch them work. And the good retriever is really cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that is wild watching like a dog. Like they're so happy to just like be in their element and like, dude, like they're doing like this is what I would train my whole life to do. Like I'm going to get it. Like, it's awesome. It's fun.
I'll get lost on Facebook just watching like dogs hurdle cattle or just like
like the sheep herding dogs. Those are cool.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yep, it's good stuff.
We got a very special menu for you.
It was fantastic. Thank you guys.
We're just gonna run through it real quick. Now, Zach, you called it brunch game on point.
I was trying to work game in there.
I
didn't know what you were gonna do, and I would have named it differently.
You get a boo.
No, I think that's a fine name. I would have gone with game recognized game.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
But you had the first dish, which was my personal favorite.
I did a hopped up cherry chili, so I used ground kangaroo, pulled rabbit, as well as some hops, and then spring onions, and then some other like onions and stuff in there.
I really enjoyed it. I liked that it had a sweetness to it. I got to be honest, like since it was a chili, I couldn't really tell the difference between what was the rabbit meat and what was the kangaroo meat.
Okay.
The rabbit was the stringy,
The long stringy one?
Yeah,
And it was tender.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can get dry. It was nice.
So you were able to differentiate.
Oh yeah, and the kangaroo was ground.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say that.
Yep.
I thought that meant
tell
that
for
it
sure.
wasn't a water kangaroo.
I thought it was just like, come on.
What's going on here? He's drunk with power and alcohol.
So yeah, it was delicious. That's what I packed away from my mom. Like, hey, you got to try this. You got to make more of that. I will eat more kangaroo.
Yeah, that was great.
You can go to Australia if you will. I think that's the only place I know where they're at. And I'd love to hunt some kangaroo with you. You deserve it.
I think this is a present for me. I think you and me.
Wait, this wasn't local kangaroo?
No, I don't even know where it was from.
Indianapolis
actually.
kangaroo.
Yeah,
Right.
it was Indy free range
Garfield
kangaroo.
Park. Yeah.
Garfield Park.
Yeah, Garfield Park there.
I did an ostrich sausage with Johnny cakes. I would have added a little fat to it if I had to do it again.
Was that all ostrich? Was there any pork in there?
No,
or anything?
that was all ostrich.
Yeah, but that's what it's known for. It's known to be like a lean meat.
Super lean, yeah. I would at first bite, I just took a Johnny cake and an ostrich, and it was like the driest thing ever. And I was like, well, we got to sauce this up a little bit more.
Well, the butter and everything in there made it, soaked it up. That was nice.
Yeah, it had
Was it
a
butter?
strange taste.
Yeah.
And then I put some of Zach's ghost pepper ketchup on it. Give it a little kick.
Yeah.
Make it a little sweet and spicy. It was very interesting because I was like, I didn't know how it would turn out, but it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I could see ostrich going into chili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ostrich makes I've had it before. My grandparents had an ostrich farm that they would sell the fertilized eggs from, and then one year one of them broke its leg, and so they butchered it, and we had steaks from it, like from the leg or whatever. I mean, they're like steak. Just red meat,
Right.
and I mean, they're really good, really good.
How many do they have? Because we were talking. I've never seen an ostrich farm. I've seen
They had like
3.
they had like a dozen.
A dozen?
Like I feel like
Seems like a lot.
I mean it's a lot and they're kind of mean animals.
Free range ostriches.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the definition for free range would be, but they had a pasture which they
That's
could run
free.
in. Yeah,
They're allowed to run.
They feel free.
yeah.
Yeah. What do they sell the fertilized
They
eggs
said
for?
I have no idea. I mean, this was when I was like 10 or 12 that they got rid of it. I think probably because it was a massive loss.
Yeah. Did you ever ride them?
No, I went out to try to feed them and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
They chase you? Are they mean?
They're mean as hell.
Yeah, they look mean.
Like they peck the shit out of you. And apparently the big issue is they got these legs that are super strong and these fucking talons, and they can break a rib cage by kicking you.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat more ostrich, everybody. They're not good.
They're jerks.
Not good.
The next dish I think is the wildest, definitely the wildest dish we've made on the show, that's been on the show that we've eaten before.
I was super excited. I called this one Trash Panda Pie. I made a pot pie out of panda. Not panda. Out of raccoon. So we got this from a farm. It was hunted by the farmer that lived on that farm. So it is a free range raccoon.
3-legged.
3-legged. His name was Lucky. And that's
Wasn't
why
so lucky, apparently.
that's why the pie was lucky.
I got a question.
We need
was,
the boo button over here.
Luck a lady? Was Luck be a lady?
No, I don't think it was.
Thank you.
But no, I roasted the raccoon and then I made a stock out of it, and I put parsnips, celery root, and then like beech and chestnut mushrooms in there with it.
I will gotta say, I thought it was executed very well. That was the only thing that I ate. I kind of had to like mentally prepare myself like a little bit more. I think just because I was like, you're eating raccoon. It's kind of weird, you know.
I was my aim was I really wanted to do something that people hadn't had before.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even with the game, there's like the game that you see in a specialty shop. Like you can find boar, you can find like elk fairly regularly,
Right.
or like duck or rabbit. But like raccoon, I feel like that one's a rare one.
Right.
It was good, and I liked the what was it, like parsnips and
Celery root.
Yep.
yeah, all
There's
that
some mushrooms in
Those
there.
are great.
Yeah.
I like the mushrooms, yeah.
Yeah, those were great.
nice little pot pie, and we'll see how it goes. I'm afraid I'm gonna turn into a were raccoon or something later tonight. We'll see.
Oh, you think that could happen?
The spirit of the coon gets inside me.
What? The coon spirit?
The coon spirit.
I don't know if you want to say that.
I don't know. I don't know where it's going, but I'd leave it.
Then we get the quail confit tacos. Man, it's hard to get. You don't get a lot of meat off those quails, do
No, I was
you?
gonna say, you need a little more quail. They were good though.
Man, we were pulling that quail, and it was like, I don't know. Should we just say that it's the bacon on top, or
How many was it? Just one bird?
No, there was 4.
Yeah,
That was 4. Oh, jeez.
it almost was like a vegan taco with like a dusting of quail salt on top. Just enough for flavor.
Yeah.
Well, I had put. It's been a while since it's been a few years since I've actually like properly confit something, and the recipe that I gave you told me 300 degrees, and I think I would have done it lower and slower.
That seems high.
It's very high.
Yeah, that seems real. Like you're almost frying it.
Yeah, we deep fried some quail. And when you have a little bird with a little bit of meat, that's what you don't want to do is deep fry it.
Right.
I feel like it was 200 degrees and about 3 hours too long.
I'm getting a call from the listeners. Some of them want to know what confit means exactly.
It's when something's cooked in its own fat.
Okay, yeah.
Or cooked in fat.
Usually
Yeah.
cooked at
What
a
fat
low
did you use?
temperature.
Yeah.
That's like when I
Duck
got-
fat.
Duck fat. Yeah.
And then that's why I love having Thad on, because he's not a restaurant industry person. So sometimes I forget that some of these things aren't.
I am food challenged.
There you go.
Well, I taught a cooking class at a school for high school kids, and I was trying to break it down as basic as possible. And I was like, the first thing we're doing is like, all right, measure out a cup. And so somebody had one of these and filled it up. Somebody else had one of these, and it was just like, oh, a cup. All right, let's start all over.
I'm just watching them laughing in the background.
And then the elk ribs with the duck egg hash. And I started noticing you slowing down, and I was like, oh man, there's like 2 more.
Yeah.
We got 2 more courses coming out.
I started to pick up around the pie. That was about when I started feeling good.
Yeah. Like there was like a dip and then like a rebirth.
Yeah, for sure.
if you will.
And it was, you talk about like, the price of meat, like sourced some of this, and I was like, only a pound? It's like, well,
I will say kangaroo meat is surprisingly cheap.
Yeah.
It's like $11, $12 a pound, which, I mean, compared to like beef, it's not that much more to get it to hop.
did you bring that across state lines?
Yeah, I did.
Oh. Trafficking. You're trafficking in roo meat.
Trafficking kangaroo.
Rude trafficking.
Oh my gosh. So we hope you enjoyed that.
It was a nice surprise. I didn't know we were doing game brunch. That was nice.
Which one was your favorite?
Oh man, you're gonna do that to me?
You can do that.
Oof.
There's
I
a
would
loser.
say between the I'd probably go pie just because hadn't had raccoon before.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
excited to try it, so I'd say that for sure. I mean, I knew what I was getting with the elk ribs. I like the elk ribs a lot,
delicious,
but I was cool because I hadn't had the raccoon before.
I feel like maybe we should have ramped up to the raccoon. You know, because after you eat the raccoon, everything's like, well, I already had raccoon earlier. So, or we're gonna try. Was it human meat? We're gonna try the most dangerous game.
Well, yeah, I thought we should have a taboo meet. So we like start with like kittens and puppies, and then finish it off with an infant.
Jeez.
Infant puppy, or are we talking?
No, person.
The most dangerous game.
Yeah, the most dangerous game, toddler.
Can we bleep that out? And do teenager?
Is there?
Like, is teenagers better? That's still a minor. It's still a child.
I was thinking 17.
What?
18.
That's still. What do you think? What do you mean? Do you think 17's legal?
But you're talking about eating babies online.
Murdering and eating people is never legal, no matter the age. It's
What
like
if
the
they're
biggest
65?
taboo.
What if they're 65 or older?
Oh, that's
What if they
gross.
volunteer?
That's gross.
What's the most like exotic meat you've ever had?
I probably just last weekend was the beaver. I'd never had beaver before,
really?
so that was probably the most.
And it's tail meat usually, right?
tail and the hind quarter legs we did last weekend. Yeah. And then
How's that prepared?
we roasted the legs, and then the tail's the coolest because it's basically fat, and but the skin on it's real thick and heavy. So we charred it, like hit it really hard, charred it, maybe even a little too much, and then got it to where like the skin puffed up off the fat,
Okay.
and then peeled the skin off. And then you underneath you got like basically bone marrow. I mean, it's very similar to the texture and flavor and fattiness of bone marrow, which was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. Has anybody else here ate beef before?
I mean, not like that, but
Oh, come on. You're just on one today.
On that note,
There's all kinds of avenues you can go down.
let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
We turn pygmies into Oompa Loompas. This is never going to sell like it should have.
We just found another new voice that Dad can do.
What are your other voices?
All right.
I have Dirty Obama.
I want to hear Dirty Obama.
You do not.
Okay. He was doing he was doing the crocodile hunter when I got here.
Michelle,
no.
I'm going to tell you something about Michelle. A lot of people don't know that her breath stinks. It's terrible. She works out. She's been on this keto diet. It smells like shit. I even called up Monica Lewinsky and said, suck my dick. And she did not. I told her, if you write a book about this, I will kill you. I've done drone strikes on many people much prettier than you.
Welcome back to the Harder Brunch podcast, and a thumbs up to you, sir.
Oh, and a thumbs up to you. This is the best beer I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that's your go-to?
No, all of Upland.
Oh, just in general across the board.
All of their beers are good.
Yeah. Well, you're a big fan of the Campfire.
It's called Campside.
Camp cider? Is it a cider?
It's nope, it's not a cider.
Oh, tell me more about
Is
it,
it
Thad.
smoky?
It's kind of smoky.
Really?
It has a fire on the label. But it's really good. It's something that you want to have when you're camping out with your boys and men and women.
Oh, I was going to say, is it a gender drink?
It's
Only boys in camp? Is that what you're saying?
They don't want me to say it's a gender drink.
Yeah.
That's your fault.
I also really quick want to invite you to come out to Red Flag Comedy's 5-year anniversary. It's going to be at Almost Famous on March 23rd. Tickets are on sale right now at Eventbrite. It's going to be a fun time, and I'd love for you guys to come out and see us do a little stand-up.
Who's headlining?
Blake Hammond from Ohio.
Oh, he just did a special.
You can find it on YouTube and see how. Well, no, actually, don't watch a special. Just come see him live, and then go watch his special.
I mean, his special is good, by the way. If you do watch it, you'll like it.
You don't want to double dip.
He probably has some new stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know. As a booker, you should know.
I don't want to risk it.
Man, our commercials are so good.
Nailed it. I did want to ask you, how did you guys have to pivot and innovate during COVID? What was that like for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, like everybody else, it was not good, but we made the most of it and actually turned out to be great. And we actually had one of our best years during COVID. But, basically, overnight, distributors just like shut off the spigots and they weren't buying. And we built a wholesale website. We had already had a Shopify website to sell to consumer, sell into home. And we, I wouldn't say overnight. I mean, it took us a while, but we built like a wholesale, passcode to log in type deal to get basically, just process orders for people, because it was just like, we were having to process all these orders with no distribution basically.
Yeah.
So that was a big. E-commerce took off for sure. I mean, we were just shipping like crazy. I mean, we basically like turned half our building into like an e-commerce distribution. Everything went from it's normally a pretty good mix between like packing stuff like whole large food service pieces, stuff that's going to get sliced at a deli counter in a restaurant. When all that went down, we basically had to turn everything into retail, and everything. We were just it had to be a retail pack, because they weren't cutting stuff at counters. They weren't we didn't sell one dry cured ham in 2 years. So it was like just stuff like that, just like changed the business. And then it's just like everybody else. Everything's a surprise. It was just constantly changing. We were just constantly having to adjust. Even last year when it seemed like it was calming down, it was still unpredictable. We didn't really know what was going to happen.
Ups and downs, and now restaurants are starting actually to come back. And
yep, for sure. I mean, all the distribution's back. All the different channels are back for sure. I mean, e-commerce has slowed down. It's still busy, but it's not to where not where it was when everybody was just sitting at home ordering stuff constantly.
Was there any issue with like getting the product on your end?
We didn't have too many problems, mainly just because it's, the people that we work with, we're not, we weren't working with like those big plants that were having problems. And that's not the type of, right. Yeah,
coming to work sick and making everybody sick.
Yeah. I mean, they're mainly like small processors and stuff on this, definitely on the smaller scale. Most of those places kept running. We were in the whole time, and we never shut down. We kind of like, weren't allowing people in the building, stuff like that. But like we never shut down. I mean, there was no sitting at home for us.
Yeah.
Is there delivery options?
Yeah. I mean, not directly from us. Well, that's not true. So like on the retail side, we do have a couple of delivery options that you can order online and then get it delivered. All those options are on the website.
Okay.
So then we ship like, most of what we would ship from Smoking Goose would be like FedEx, UPS. So that kind of delivery option as well. Okay. But I mean, pretty much if there's a way to get it to you, we're doing it. I mean,
yeah,
one way or another, we'll get it to you.
How many states do you serve now?
Essentially all of them. Obviously like a lot of the business is concentrated like in, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, LA, Austin, places like that, Seattle, Portland.
Oh, wow.
But we have distribution. We have 23 distributors, and then we also just ship directly to, both the consumer and the business. I mean, it's like other businesses, so it's like throughout the country. But we got a couple of sandwich shops in Hawaii that we're shipping to. We got a couple of charcuterie shops in Alaska that we ship to. So I mean, it truly is. We have product in all states, but some states it might be one or two places.
Okay. I just want to do a quick shout out to Rena Calm. She was on the program earlier, and she is going to Hawaii. So, Rena, if you can take a picture of Goose the Market in Hawaii,
Surfside subs.
You'll get a free thumbs up from me and Dyke. I don't want to do it.
No, we'll give her half for now.
Okay.
You get the rest of it upon
You get the rest of the thumbs
delivery
up.
of the photo. Is there ever being a chef and then starting this meat empire? Do you ever get frustrated? Like, as I know, like I went to culinary school and then I opened a burger food truck, and then everyone just kind of thought that I only knew how to cook burgers. And they're like, what? That doesn't even make sense.
Right.
But like, do you ever like have to like feel like you have to remind people that you are a chef?
Nah, I don't even consider myself a chef any longer. I mean, most people don't ever, like it's been so long since I've cooked.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I cook with aren't even cooking anymore. I mean, there's a few for sure, but I let people think whatever they want to think about me.
Well, I guess the other side of it, do you ever get to really surprise people and they're like, oh, well, he knows how to cook?
Yeah, I think there are definitely some people that don't realize that I did cook at one time. I mean, so I'll go do dinners and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm rusty. I'm not as agile as I once was. So I'm definitely not able to move the way I used to move. But yeah, it's still fun. Still have fun doing it.
Zach got that a lot. I think Zach as well from having the sauce company.
Yeah, because I mean, like I think I've worked in at least 15 restaurants, and like after like when I met Dyke, I was in like running my own business, full on, and so like I feel like you definitely get kind of boxed in. Like it took me a lot to even be recognized. Like
Here
even.
Yeah, we didn't respect you as like a real.
Actually, I think it was the first meat cake because you and Bridget were going on. I was like, I'll do it too, and you're like, okay, whatever. like, all right, that's fine. And then basically, you two thought it was you two against each other, and until I showed up,
And you won.
yeah. I think it wasn't quite winning as much as mopping the floor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that is true. Like, well, I feel like there's something with like chefs. There's a humble chef and there's a braggadocious chef.
Yeah,
And both live in every chef.
It's like
two
a Jekyll
wolves.
and Hyde, real Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I did not believe in you. I was like, this guy knows
I
how
still
to make
don't.
mustard.
I lost, and I still don't believe in him.
Yep.
He's like, what do you do with mustard? You just get the mustard seed and little
Stick blend it.
Yep.
stick blend it,
Stick blend it.
and then
Water and mustard seed, real impressive.
and then you became honestly one of the best chefs I know.
In the course of just cooking for you. I think
Yeah.
it was you that made me that.
Wait, the best chef?
No, that's a lie. I'm sorry.
I didn't say you're the best chef. I said one of them.
One of them. One of many.
Assistant to the regional manager. So we had this event last week that we have done now 3 times, the Meat Cake Invitational, and Zach did win the first year with this amazing. He made basically a crab cake the size of a hubcap, and it had like steak tartare on it and like these like salmon roses.
Yeah, I did a surf and turf. I put remoulade. I iced the crab cake with remoulade, and then I had a seared tenderloin that I wrapped in horseradish cream cheese, and then I had a tartare like molded on top of it that I poured hollandaise into, and then I had like salmon roses all over it.
Yeah.
And
An
which
event
is
of excess, right?
which
I
is
like it.
crazy now. Like I don't even know if that would have been as impressive on year 3. You know what I'm saying? Like the winners of previous
if
years.
my 3 meat cakes had gone up against each other,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Does
No,
it keeps it's like an arms race. It's a
Right.
meat arms race. Do you think that would be something you'd be interested in participating in creating a milk cake,
Milk cake,
a meat cake,
a meat cake. I don't know how to think about that.
and
that could be
or
interesting.
and or you would also probably make a really good judge.
Yeah, I could do that. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's less work. That's less work.
Easy, like, yeah. That would be cool to see it, like even just an off like competition. Like you make your own.
Yeah.
Well, I want people from the meat gang, to be participating. I think next year we might even do it teams, so we can get like
That'd
some
be cool.
different businesses and restaurants to maybe put a team together to compete.
And why is that? Because game recognizes game.
Hey, there it is.
I shouldn't get like a soundboard for stealing your joke.
Oh, you should.
and you won't.
And you won't. Oh, but you were at meat cake competition this year, right?
No,
Oh,
I saw all the pictures. It looked great.
Oh, it was amazing.
It looks stressful. I mean, if I had to do one, I feel like I'd stress out over it. You know, like I'd spend like weeks, just trying to kill it.
Right. I think people spent 365 days planning. How long did you plan?
I mean, each one of my meat cakes is a year and a half in the making.
Especially the first one. He didn't even know we were going to do one, but he was still preparing for it. Man, yeah,
It looks cool though. It looks like
it's
crazy,
so much
man.
fun, and also just coming up. Bridget did 3 completely different ones.
Bridget's blew my mind this time. I mean, honestly, she's always the one I'm gunning for. Whenever, when I'm making my meat cake at home, I'm thinking about her crying.
Yeah.
But I mean, hers was, and hers always is very impressive.
She's a very dangerous competitor because she's a professional baking and pastry chef, but she really understands savory cooking equally as well.
Oh yeah.
And so it's in a meat cake competition.
Dangerous. That's
dangerous.
dangerous.
And somehow she had a theme of women's rights
Baked into it.
I don't know how that lost.
I didn't really see that until that won People's Choice.
Yeah.
I saw it after the fact. I was like, oh yeah, there's the little shrine.
It was also all local makers. It was all female local makers.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, she had a through line and a theme and oh my goodness.
Who did the femur bone?
That was me.
Damn, I like that.
That was your favorite?
hot.
Yeah.
That was hot. It looked good.
All my meat cakes let you know that they're meat. They're always rustic, they like to call it.
Yeah, like bones or empanadas.
I'm not gonna win any beauty contest for I'm not gonna beat a pastry chef at any kind of cake making. So I just how about a big bone sticking out of it?
Wait, so you write the rules and you're a participant?
Yeah, it's a real Vince McMahon situation going, hey, I've never won.
Yeah, you would think he would win a lot more. He's a terribly corrupted judge.
And you're a judge?
No. But I did pick all the judges and they did not vote for me.
You picked some new judges.
Yeah, I stacked the deck with judges that were my friends and nobody voted for me.
You specifically fed all the judges here before. Wow, that's not
Man.
Did not help at all.
I guess.
No, but it's also one of the things too is I kind of didn't want to, you don't want to be the guy that was I remember one time I had a friend that threw a Halloween party and then a costume contest and then they won it.
Oh,
and it was just everyone talking about why would you do that?
Was it sponsored? He give himself a own gift? I'll take this.
But so I definitely I like the fact that everyone just had a good time and put it on, and the fact that I liked my effort every year. I'm just I'm happy with it. I did a crown roast on top last year.
Yeah.
There's always some bones.
Mm-hmm.
I really want next year. There was a muscle guy walking around without a shirt. I really want to utilize eating off of people next year in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
And obviously they'll sanitize before they put the food over them.
We already talked about this.
Yeah.
That used
We
to
were
be a
going to have
thing for
you.
sushi.
a
They were doing that
walking
for sushi for a
tray.
while.
Yeah, we could roll
yeah.
you around with cold cuts on you.
Cold cuts.
Oh,
Yeah. We talked about cold cut Thad.
We have, and
Like one of those
cuts on your
sushi
back.
girls.
I think as long as we're eating off dudes, that we can't get in trouble. I feel like just keep it to all men. Yeah. Just eating cold cuts off muscly men.
well, what if I don't want to just eat off of all dudes?
Well, that's
Seems like you need to, come to 2023 with the rest of us.
All right. I don't know. But there needs to be some walking around eating edible person situation. All right, I'm done. You'll see it.
we were talking off mic a little. You were talking about Spain a little bit. Are you do you travel a lot? Do you get inspiration from your travels?
Yeah, I mean, not internationally as much as I had. I've only, as far as Europe, just been to Italy. That's the only place I've been there. But in the States, quite a bit. I kind of have to travel for work now, so I spend a lot of time going to basically all the cities I mentioned. I hit those up quite a bit. So it's been fun because you get to learn about all these cool little food cultures in each city and how they're different and what kind of shops they got around there, their restaurants, meet all the people. It's a lot of fun. Just in Minneapolis recently, they got a great food scene, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you just it's Midwest. You wouldn't necessarily think. I mean, nothing against Minneapolis, but you just wouldn't necessarily think it. But they got a lot of talent up there, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on. It's fun to go to this, those cities that you just you might not be on your top 10 list to go for food vacation or something, and go up there and learn about it.
Pleasantly surprised.
I will agree. When you think Minnesota, you think boring. You think it's not
cold.
Yeah, you think awful. Like, why would I be here? But like they got the Twin Cities right next to each other. I've always had fun in Minnesota.
That's great.
Blast the lakes. Like this should be a vacation spot.
Yeah.
But they're labeled as one of the most boring states in the world.
I've never seen that label. I've never seen that top 10 list.
You should read more.
Is there any product or something that you specifically make only for specific regions, or is there something like we love this really weird thing or anything like that?
We mentioned like the brunch swagger. I mean, there's stuff that we just sell locally here.
Oh, okay.
So like we'll make it. We're making one right now called Big Red Salami that's like only available, and I mean we would ship it, to the home consumer, but it's basically like a local item. And then obviously anything we make at the store, they make all kinds of stuff at at Goose the Market that's just specifically for the market.
There's nothing small batch that you make from like other markets, so like
not necessarily. No, I mean a lot of stuff we're doing when we're doing those small batches, I'm testing them out here to see how they do, see if we like them, see if we can make them great, and see if there's a good feedback, and then we might start slowly rolling those out to other markets, other cities. But no, not specifically like we try to represent this region of the country. I mean that's like so I don't really try to like make stuff that's popular in other areas. I mean it's kind of like this is like these are flavors of our part of the country basically. That's kind of like the whole idea behind it.
Has there been a product that you tried to test batch that you really enjoyed that just didn't sell well or just didn't catch on?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happens for sure. I mean, one of my favorites is not our most popular item, which is the saucisson rouge. I mean, it's like always been one of my favorites. In fact, that's up for a good food award this year. But it's not our top selling. It's not probably not even our top 10 selling products, but it's always been one of my personal favorites. It's a cool salami. It's like, it's just not like anything else we do.
What's different about it? I want to hear about this. I want to try it.
Well, it's got a ton of red wine and then heart and liver. So the texture in it it's a little bit softer. It's not a full on, it's not like a full-on hard salami. So I like the texture of it. I like the funk. I like all the red wine in it. It's got a cool, real, almost like a purple color to it.
Okay.
It's got a little chili in it. So it's just got a lot of like depth of flavor. There's just a lot of different things going on that makes it really interesting.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like in stand-up comedy. Like sometimes we have jokes that are just for us.
Yeah, you do it because you like them. Yeah, but you might not get the reaction you want. Yeah, it happens all the time, man. I mean, like I want you to like this. You better like this. But then, can't force it sometimes.
What were you going to show? The gift that we got brought?
Yeah, you brought a lot of gifts. You bore or bared a lot of gifts.
Yep.
Some meat joke.
Brought some new hats, but then this is this is actually a version of that Big Red Salami that I mentioned. So we're making one version of this with Wagyu beef, but then this specific one is not for resale. It's from a deer I shot this fall. And so it's venison, the big Tuscan red wine, and porcini mushrooms.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, so there's like mushrooms inside.
Yep. It's a nice little white mold on the outside there. It's supposed to be there. It's a nice powdery white mold. Protects the surface of it. Yeah. You wouldn't believe it. A lot of people. I mean, it's something that like people just aren't used to seeing.
They call and complain like this meat was moldy when it showed up.
That's how moldy meat.
It's supposed to be that way.
It's supposed to be that way. Yeah.
Oh man, we should have brought a little knife down here and tore into
Try it out.
Tore into it. We can do it at the next one.
There you go.
I got to ask, just because we were talking earlier, and I'm sure you get this a lot because you're a tall gentleman. Did you play college ball at all?
Man, I was terrible.
Really?
That's why I had to cook, because I couldn't play basketball. Yeah. That was terrible.
Now I always say that I'm terrible because I'm black from Indiana and I can't play basketball, but I feel like you have to have it even worse because it seems like a conversation that comes up all the time.
Yeah, people expect it for sure. Yeah.
Really.
Like you must be really bad at basketball and have to cook. Right? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't very good at it. Yeah.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to a culinary school, Johnson Wales, out in Providence.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to Purdue for hotel restaurant management.
Yeah, come on, man. You're like, I'm not a chef.
Humble chef.
I never had my own restaurant. Never, I was always working for other people, and I would much rather just be a good cook than try to act like I was. I'm still a chef. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I get that all the time too, because I cook, especially when I cook for like comics and stuff. They're like, "Oh, chef," and I'm like, no, I have actual chefs that come over here. Like, it's disrespectful.
What was first between the comedy and cooking for you?
Cooking. I mean, I've been in the restaurant business since I was like 16. Yeah. But I didn't go to culinary school. I went to culinary school when I was like in 2010 to like 2014.
Yeah.
And then opened the food truck right after, which is like the number one thing they tell you not to do in the culinary school.
Right.
Like, don't try to open a business right outside of school now. And I was like, I heard.
Yeah.
And then I opened a business.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, and then I just kind of, man, I hit this weird place. I think after just being it, like I thought because I loved food and I loved cooking that translated into being a restaurateur. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that I don't like a lot of the stuff that comes along with being a restaurateur.
Right. There's so many other things you could do with food,
Yeah.
And you guys are doing it, which is great.
And now, especially from doing the podcast and stuff, I get to meet a lot of people that are doing, talented chefs that are just doing other stuff besides being, like chefs.
Right. So when did the comedy come along? When did you go to comedy school?
Some would say it hasn't even.
Some would say we're still waiting.
Hey, when's that going to start?
That's on the plans for next year.
Something to work towards.
Like 2017-ish. It's been about 6 years.
Yeah.
And you sound like a crazy person when you switch midstream like that, to like all your family and friends is like, I think I want to do this.
Yeah.
Because you can go to if you go to school for 8 years and you do everything you're supposed to, like you'll be a doctor at the end. Mm-hmm. You can try doing comedy for 8 years and just still be terrible at the end. There's no set checklist or path or whatever.
Yeah.
So as I started doing this too, and this is like a lot of comedians needed like a podcast or something, I felt like I had a weird breakup with the service industry, because I separated myself from the company and, I was just like, I want to do this. And then it was just like, how do I keep one foot kind of inside that world? And I was like, well, I still have all these relationships with all these people that are still doing stuff. And then it's just been super fun and blessed. It was weird though, because we did start it like right in 2019. So right when we started getting a little bit of steam going, the entire restaurant industry shut down. Yeah. And so then we did some interesting stuff during COVID. Like we would do cooking challenges. People would cook at home and then send pictures in and we'd vote on a winner and stuff like that. Or, we kept our bubble pretty small, but we'd still get together and podcast most of the time.
Very safe the whole time.
Yeah. Make some calls. Did some phone interviews and stuff for a while, and then as stuff started opening back up, we got to talk to a lot of people, and it was very interesting because a lot of people, it was for some people, it was a pivot and figured out. For some people, it was the end of their business. Some people transitioned from doing one thing to another. So it was a very interesting time to like kind of have a food-based podcast.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of people fell off of food during that time, and like sometimes I don't even know who fell off and who didn't, and it's like I don't know what they're doing now, where they're at, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know, they're just gone one day, you don't know what happened,
And it was also crazy just like walking around and seeing like, I was like walking around Fletcher Place, and all of a sudden there's like a smoker outside of Bluebeard, and they're doing like seafood, it was like people were just doing anything to try to figure
survive.
So it was a wild time, and then coming out of it, it's just been crazy for us to like. We did a comedy show one time, and then we walked outside, and there was like a block party, and they were like, "Oh, you're the Harder Brunch guys. Hey, take some hot dogs." And there was
the
like
best day of my life.
It was like
got a hot dog out of it.
Yeah.
Well,
there was a comedian in front from New York who was with us, and she was like, "Who are you guys?" Like we were like the hot dog mafia or something.
It is weird now to see, like, not to like pat ourselves on the back, but it is weird now now to see how Harder Brunch is taking off now because people will be like, oh, like, where do I know you from? Like, oh, you probably see me in comedy. Like, no, that's not it.
That's not it.
And then I go, podcast. What podcast? Oh, Harder Brunch. Yeah. I was like, oh, well.
There you go.
And it's fun. Like, but like, I love being a part of this, and I'm asking to renew another year.
Yeah, are we renewing our Thad subscription?
I wanted to ask you in front of everybody. So
Put you on the spot.
I feel like there was a wedding proposal almost.
Another 6 months.
He didn't
yes.
say yes. Yeah, he's,
All right. Well,
Yes,
We're
it
going to
is.
take it 1 week at a time, right?
yeah, this might be my last week, guys. It's been so much fun.
Week to week for you.
Back to comedy.
What I always thought, and then this is controversial, but I always thought that like marriages should be like that. Like you get married in 5-year increments, right? So from the time and then it dissolves unless you hit renew, right?
Yeah.
So
you want to keep this going or
yeah,
not?
you want to
There's
re up
like a
for it.
secret button.
No, you both have to agree, and you both re up for. You want to do another 5 years with me, and then you both are good for another 5 years, and then there's no messy divorce if you just have to wait it out.
Oh,
You know, and
yeah.
then it just
So you don't have to split everything.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the divorce price still happens, right? Because you still have to leave each other and split everything.
It's an auto divorce, though.
It's an auto divorce. The decision part is easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a subscription service
Yeah.
for marriage.
Yeah,
you know?
are you still watching Netflix?
Are you still there? Are you still there?
Are you still in love? Are you still in love with Susan? Oh my God, can you drop a beat for me there, Sauce Boss? Chris, Eley, thank you so much for being on the program today.
Good.
It was super
Love
fun.
Yeah.
Where can people find all the wonderful Goose products?
Smokinggoose.com, goosethemarket.com. Don't forget about that brunch, that pop-up brunch you got coming up, and shop.smokinggoose.com on there.
Oh,
We
yeah.
didn't say
Didn't even mention
anything
it.
about
You didn't
that.
even mention
We
it.
did a really terrible job on that one.
Pop-up brunch coming up.
Hey, there is a pop-up brunch coming up. I'm just going to say it. Some people don't want to. It's going to be amazing. We talked about all the meats that's going to be there. There's not going to be kangaroo, but there.
You don't know. You don't know what we're doing. No, there won't be any kangaroo.
And there won't be any human. There's not going to be
no
any
human, no babies.
No babies or teenagers that are about able to vote.
Yeah.
So
What we will be doing is we will be showcasing some wonderful Goose products. Sauce Boss Zach and I will be selling like 5 different things. We're going to be also partnering with Milkman's Daughter. They're going to be making some delicious cocktails and mocktails. And then you can come in and you can also shop and pick up everything that you want to at the smokehouse. Chris was saying like there's cheeses that we got tinned fish.
Tinned fish. Yeah, you like tinned fish. Come check it out. Yep.
And also there's like a lot of like cool like cutting boards and stuff like that, and a lot of like cool like high-end like condiments and fun stuff like that. And one of my favorite parts about the smokehouse, you guys have one of the best deals in the city on the boxed freezer sale. The boxed freezer
Box
sale,
meat, yep.
people sleep on that.
Yep,
That's such a
they
good
do.
deal. You
Yep.
can load up these boxes.
Yeah. You can try to put me out of business.
Oh man, I go full Jenga Tetris on that. I'm like, how much meat can I shove down into this box?
You got to close that top. You got to be able to close the top.
It's like Mary Poppins' purse by the time I'm done with it. Sauce Boss Zach.
If you do find yourself wanting some, baby-based, meats, I'm starting Goo Goo Baby Pies. We're doing a pop-up a little later in the month, so check that out at Goo Goo Baby Pies.
all right.
Daddy's Jake.
This is me. I guess I'm going into a law firm to sue this guy. I think what he's doing is wrong. I think we can say it.
Yeah.
But if you're interested in 17-year-old and above human beings to eat, I'm done. At Thad McKee, baby.
At Dyke Michaels on all social media. Stick around. We do have a wonderful Patreon after brunch. You can go to patreon.com/Harder Brunch. It's only $3. You get access to our extensive after brunch library. It's just a fun comedy show where we talk to our friends and
Get silly.
We get silly. We'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.